A lot happened right at the start of this video, which went by so fast it was hard to see all that was going on. During the Big Bang, an initially small, hot universe quickly expanded. Time and space came to exist. Things began to cool and quarks were able to form. Then came protons, neutrons, and electrons, which in time became atoms. At first, the only types of atoms were hydrogen, a bit of helium, and a very, very small amount of lithium. Gravity pulled clouds of these gases together, forming the first stars. Our universe quickly filled with many stars. Some of them formed in lovely groups called galaxies. 8.8 billion years ago, the Milky Way galaxy formed, which would eventually become our home. The stars got their energy by fusing hydrogen into helium. Some of them ran out of hydrogen to fuse and started fusing helium into even heavier elements. Through this method, all elements up to iron were created. Once stars ran out of fuel, they died. Some of the biggest stars died in a huge explosion, which created even more elements. Let's take a closer look at the Milky Way galaxy. One special star formed with several planets around it. One of them was the Earth. Another small planet hit it, and the impact dust later formed the Moon. At first, Earth was so hot the surface was basically volcanoes and magma everywhere. But gradually it cooled until the water in the atmosphere was able to turn liquid and rain down. An ocean covered the whole planet. There was no land in sight for a while, but the planet still had a lot of volcanic activity going on. Eventually, enough volcanic material piled up to make a few islands. Deep underwater, near volcanic vents, some tiny life forms came to be. Then other tiny life forms called cyanobacteria started living in warm, shallow waters and used the sun's energy to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. Oxygen was poisonous to almost everything that lived at this time. Luckily, iron in the ocean absorbed the oxygen. The ocean turned red. The red iron sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Now, the poisonous oxygen could spread everywhere. Most life forms died, poisoned. The sky turned blue from the oxygen. The oxygen made the whole planet get so cold it froze into a snowball. Volcanoes eventually helped the ice to finally melt. Cyanobacteria were still around, still making oxygen, but other new life also appeared. While most life hated oxygen, protomitochondria could use oxygen for energy. Then there were organisms that got energy by eating other life forms. One day, a predatorial organism ate a protomitochondria, but the protomitochondria continued to make energy using oxygen inside the predatorial organism. So, the predatorial organism didn't digest it. Instead, together, they became a eukaryote. After this, organisms started getting more complex. A type of red algae formed, which was multicellular, and reproduced in a much more complex way by mixing DNA from multiple organisms. This was called sexual reproduction. Red algae was multicellular, but still very small compared to living creatures of today. It liked the sunlight and lived in shallow waters. Eukaryotes and cyanobacteria preferred to live near each other. As cyanobacteria produced oxygen, the eukaryotes would take the oxygen and use it for energy, converting it back to carbon dioxide, which cyanobacteria needed. Some eukaryotes also liked to eat cyanobacteria for additional nutrients. Because the eukaryotes were using the oxygen would not get too deep in the water, so various oxygen-hating organisms could still live down at the bottom of the sea by the thermal vents.